Hi guys, real quick mama here. I just gave birth 6 weeks ago and it was legitimately easy and it was almost pain-free. And I want to share with you the things that I did to prepare for this birth, and I hope it'll bless you and help you as well. I'm planning on repeating all of these things if I end up pregnant again in the future. So I figured I would record it. It would help me and maybe it would help you too. I'm going to link to all of these things that I talk about and mention in the description, so you can check that out. But real quick, here we go. So I'm a mom of 5, 7, and under, and I want to share with you all of the things that I feel like God used to bless this last birth. It was amazing. My first 2 babies were C-sections. My 3rd baby was a VBAC in the hospital. My 4th baby was a VBAC at home, and this baby number 5 was also at home. And I want to tell you the last 2 births, which were my first vaginal births, were excruciating. And I don't usually share that with people because I don't want to discourage them, but I can tell you that I think I know why. I just did everything wrong and I was totally fearful and I fought the whole process. I'm going to go through from the first trimester to the 3rd trimester, everything I did. And as we get farther along, it's going to snowball. You're going to continue to do the things that I did and continue to add the things that I mentioned. And as we get into the 3rd trimester, some of the things are going to be very specific products that I tried, and I think they really helped. So stay tuned. In the first trimester, very first thing, it was a lot of prayer and a lot of asking for accountability in the area of prayer, telling my friends what was going on, and also talking to my husband and having him pray over me, just really trying to trust God. And just researching scriptures and just trying to speak them, like Philippians 4, just different scriptures that really helped me with my fear. I also started taking, of course, prenatals, and then I definitely recommend drinking pregnancy tea. For me, I drank a quart a day, and I did not include the red raspberry leaf in the first trimester, but that's just a personal choice. I know a lot of people that do include it. I also had an anti-inflammatory diet, so that means that I wasn't eating any gluten, grain, sugar, and very minimal dairy. No nightshades, no beans, but all of this really helped me. I follow the Plant Paradox program, and I love the whole diet, so you can maybe check that out. But that helped me so much. I had very little nausea and very little pain throughout my whole pregnancy. Also, I do take omegas, which is fish oil, and that really helps. I'll link to the best brand that I think is out there, and it's pretty affordable, and it helps tremendously with pain and nausea if you have any. And then the book that I read in the first trimester was called Christ-Centered Childbirth. I don't 100% agree with the theology, but it is a Christian book. I just think that they misinterpreted a few scriptures and kind of used them out of context, but there's a lot of great information in there. Starting in my 2nd trimester, I continued to do all those things, but I also incorporated the red raspberry leaf into my quart of pregnancy tea a day. I started researching birth even more, and I created a playlist on YouTube of all the best birth education and helpful videos for this preparation that I was, kind of going through. So I will send you that. You can check out that playlist. One of the best things on there was I love Bridget Tyler. She's a doula, and she has YouTube videos, and she had a lot of great videos that I have on that playlist. One of them is giving your fear a name, just really figuring out what it is that you're afraid of, and then kind of going deeper with that. So probably the best video on that playlist, though, is the Charles Spurgeon sermon called Needless Fears, and it blessed me so much and really put things into perspective. I also started a birth circle, and what it is just women of like-minded faith getting together and talking about birth, God's design for birth, and I led it. I used a lot of the research that I did, but that really helped. And I avoided triggers. Triggers are so bad, okay? Do not watch scary birth videos or even listen to your friends tell scary birth stories. It's so not nice to tell your friends about your horror birth story. It's not helpful at all. I'm not trying to invalidate anyone's birth experience, but I will just say, don't perpetuate the problem. Between all of media propagating this message that's like, birth is horrible, and how much our culture hates children, I mean, just don't add to it. Don't make it worse. So avoid those triggers, and don't just shut your friend down. Just say, stop right there. I don't want to hear this birth story. I'm sorry. And then finally, exercise is huge. Even a simple walk, but I recommend going 1 to 2 miles a day, maybe 3 days a week. And that's what I did in the 2nd trimester. So jumping right into the third trimester, I continue to do all of those things. And then also, and I just have to insert a clause here, talk to your doctor and midwife. I'm not a doctor, et cetera, et cetera. One of the biggest things before I get into all like the tinctures and like little products is you can actually make a huge difference in the way that you give birth by simply having good posture. What do I mean by that? Well, the baby's position inside of your womb really depends a lot on your posture. The way that you sit, the way that you lay down, the way that you recline or try not to recline. All of these things play a huge role in your baby's position because you want your baby to be anterior, which is facing your spine. So posterior would be if they were looking at your belly button. If they're looking at your belly button, you're really pretty much guaranteed to have back labor. And I had that with my last 2 births, and I can tell you it was excruciating. You don't want it. So having good posture means sitting forward like you're riding a horse. You're tilting your pelvis like you're sitting directly on your vagina, and that is a good posture to create your belly to sort of be a hammock leaning forward, so that your baby naturally with gravity is going to want to face your spine. Anytime you lean back on the couch or put your feet up on the table or sit back in the dining chair and slump back or sit in a recliner, slump back, or ride in the car with your seat reclined, all of those things are causing your baby to face forward, and you don't want that. You want to create gravity that really encourages your baby to face your spine. That's called anterior. You want anterior. So baby's position and your posture are huge. Okay, now getting into some of the products and things that I actually paid for. Dates. Dates are a little fruit. They're very sweet and delicious. Some people don't agree. 4 to 6 a day, medium to large dates. Drink it in a smoothie if you have to. What it does is it softens and ripens your cervix. It helped. I actually started it at 25 weeks because I love them. I started seeing a chiropractor at 30 weeks because I was having some issues with my tailbone. But also, I recommend a chiropractor in pregnancy. It's amazing. They don't have to be Webster certified, just somebody that you trust. I always go to women, and what they do is just really get your body in a great position for birth. So I went weekly starting at 30 weeks, and it was covered by insurance. So it really, I probably wouldn't have done it otherwise. Omegas, I'm still taking omegas all through the 3rd trimester, but this time I'm now taking more like 6 to 8 a day, as before I was maybe taking like 2 to 4. They're great for any nausea, inflammation, pain, headaches, all of that. So I definitely love, love, love omegas. I take them even when I'm not pregnant. They are like my Tylenol. But I wouldn't ever take that much Tylenol. But omegas, they're really good for you. It's just fish oil. So you could overdo anything, I suppose, but it'd be pretty hard to overdo omegas. Okay, first product that was kind of really specific to pregnancy was evening primrose oil. Okay, you've probably heard of it. Maybe you haven't. They're capsules. They're about this big. And you can ingest them or you can insert them. Now, a lot of people say you should insert them. That's what I did, but I also ingested one every 2 days. So what I did, let me explain very carefully, but you need to talk to your physician. I have to say that. At 36 weeks, I started inserting 2 each night. You just push it up as far as you can, wear a panty liner, 2 a night. And then every 2 or 3 days, I would take 1 orally just to kind of get it at both angles. But you don't want to do that every day because that's too many milligrams, and it can be dangerous if you take too much evening primrose oil. It can be like a blood thinner. So I also started a product by Sunstone Formulas called Cervix Softener, and it was from a course that I took on birth, and it was called the Practically Pain-Free Method, and I actually did have a practically pain-free birth, so I feel like I should do a commercial for them or something. I took this cervix softener starting at 36 weeks. I took a half a teaspoon 3 times a day, and then at 37 weeks and on, I took a teaspoon 3 times a day. And actually I ran out at 37 weeks. So it's really it goes by quick, and it's a $46 purchase. So I actually decided not to get another bottle, and I went into a different product. So I decided to take black and blue co-wash tinctures. I'm going to tell you exactly what I did in case you want to repeat that. And I know I'm going to next time if I get blessed with another baby. So I'll explain it. So if you buy the tinctures, it's 2 little bottles and they come with a little dropper. So I filled each dropper of black and blue co-wash halfway full and took it 2 times a day for the first week. That was at 38 weeks. And then I filled it halfway of each kind 3 times a day for the 2nd week and on. And I did give birth in the 39th week, so I didn't do it for very long. And anytime I felt like it was too much, or I just needed to take a break because maybe my uterus was getting irritable, I would just back off for a day or 2. Or I would take like a strong Epsom salt bath, and that magnesium helped so much. Now, if you don't want to buy the cervix softener, or you don't want to go into the black and blue co-wash because it is a little controversial and maybe your midwife won't recommend it, you can go straight from the cervix softener to Dr. Christopher's labor prep. It might be birth prep, I can't remember. but it's Dr. Christopher's, and you just can jump right from the cervix softener when that runs out into the Dr. Christopher's. Or, not to confuse you, but you could just take Dr. Christopher's and not do the cervix softener, not do the black and blue co-wash. If you just want to save some money and just do like a direct approach, you could just take those Dr. Christopher pills. It's just a bunch of different herbs that help to prepare your body and your uterus and your cervix and all of that for labor. So, like I said, just briefly explain it again. Cervix softener, when that runs out, the black and blue co-wash is what I did. You could do the cervix softener, and then when that runs out, take the Dr. Christopher's, or you could just do Dr. Christopher's the whole time. And that's starting around 36 weeks. Epsom salt baths were huge for me in my third trimester. I did about 2 a day, really strong ones. It just helped with anxiety, pain, fatigue, headaches, nausea. It helped with everything. It slowed contractions down when they were too much, because what all these things do is they cause your body to prepare for birth by contracting, Braxton Hicks, that just really kind of exercise your uterus and help you dilate before the big day. So sometimes it can feel like a little much, and those Epsom salt baths really helped. I will say I never really felt like it was much. I had an early pregnancy scare, but that was at 35 weeks before I started any of this. Well, once I started this, I really never had any issues or felt like I was overdoing it. But I did share with my midwife everything that I was doing so that she knew what was going on. I also started seeing the massage therapist at 37 weeks, again, covered by insurance. I would not have done it if it wasn't covered, because I'm not a movie star. Like, I don't know. I can't afford that. So clary sage and fennel oil is a really great way to go as well. And I did this. So you're going to buy clary sage. I'm going to tilt this because it's driving me nuts. You're going to buy essential oils, clary sage, and fennel. And what you do is put 7 to 10 drops of each in a little, like maybe half a teaspoon of olive oil, and rub it on your belly. Now it's moving. Starting at the top of your fundus and going all the way around to the bottom to your pubic bone, and then back up. So clockwise, 7 to 10 drops with like a half a teaspoon of olive oil. And you're going to do that 2 to 3 times a day. And I started that at 37 weeks. Again, just back off if you feel like it's too much. And then finally, I did the Miles Circuit video on YouTube. It's also on that playlist that I mentioned that I put together. And basically, it's just a really great way to get your baby in the right position. If you feel like your baby, there was a period where my baby was posterior, and I was like, no, I am not going to have back labor again. So that Miles Circuit is great for that. And I also did it, so I did it a few weeks before I gave birth, and then I ended up doing it the day that I gave birth. So those are all the things. I am going to put out a video that's like really quick, because that's more my style, real quick mama, that explains my kind of top 10 in order of the things that I thought were most beneficial. And of course, the number 1 on that list is going to be prayer, scripture. And that's because I believe that no matter what you do, that ultimately God is in control and you can trust him. I know I can trust him. So I will never really know if it was these things that made for an easy birth, or if God just blessed me, or both. But I do believe that it had something to do with it in a major way. And I hope that it helps you. Please let me know if you try these things and they help. And let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to link with all of these products and also the playlists and with my birth video. I hope that it blesses you tremendously. And thanks for joining me real quick. Bye.